about Hollywood, pal. You've mentioned several times on the show that politics is Hollywood for ugly people. Well, politics is also Hollywood for washed up Hollywood people. What do I mean by that? I mean that when a celebrity, whether it be from music, stage, screen, film, whatever it may be, finds that their star is starting to fade a little bit, they turn to politics in many ways. Because, hey, it worked for Ronald Reagan, right? He ended up going into politics. He was the head of the Screen Actors Guild Union. Then he worked his way through politics in California, of all places, working his way up to governor, and then, of course, president of the United States. And Ronald Reagan may have created this career path that we're all suffering from now. Because it seems like every faded Hollywood star wants to get back on the screen, but in the political arena this time. We've seen it with Alyssa Milano and Kathy Griffin and so many other celebrities out there whose stars have faded over time. And we have a brand new crop that we're going to be talking about now. Talk to me about these culture warriors from Hollywood jumping into politics.
A lot of people say things like shut up and dribble or shut up and act. I sort of subscribe to that, but because doesn't it hurt you the most when you see someone, and a lot of these names, people know all these names that we're going to mention, when you see them talk with their own voice and not reading lines that someone smarter than them wrote for them, it's incredibly disappointing. They are not smart people. Like a lot of the crazy conspiracy theories about how they sell their souls to make a lot of money in Hollywood, I used to believe it. Now I really believe it. I used to sort of believe it. Now I kind of almost fully believe it because they're too stupid, right? Like if you gave those guys a few $1 million, they would lose it fairly quickly. There's no way they can manage their own lives. They're so stupid. And when we start talking about some of these people and mentioning their names, you're going to see what I mean.
Absolutely. They're empty vessels. And that's why they're great at acting or in film or anything like that, because they get to fill their empty vessel with a character, and then they can act like that character. And as Jerry Seinfeld said in that one award acceptance speech, let's all applaud him. He acted like Bob Johnson. What a brave and stunning thing that was done here. That's a great skit about awards. You got to check that out. But you mentioned talking off of scripts, pal. And one of the nominees that I'm going to put forth is Robert De Niro. He actually was paid by the then Biden campaign to go to the people, he's from New York City, to go in front of the courthouse and actually make speeches. He made one speech in particular on behalf of the Biden campaign as a Biden surrogate. So check this out here.
I mean, this is really, even these people over here are kind of...
Why is he here?
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted.
Such fear-mongering. Can you believe this?
And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president.
Really?
Really.
I'm sure he was very convincing.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're washed up. Fuck you.
He's triggered.
Mm-hmm. You're a little punk. You're a softy. You're a nobody. Your movie sucks.
Roasted.
He's a mook. M-O-O-K.
Shout out to all my New York Italians out there screaming down Robert De Niro. The man's beloved as a legend from the Godfather movies, Raging Bull and all this. Everybody loved him. The Tribeca Film Festival, he became a hero of the city, prince of the city. And then he goes out into this crowd and gets political. And look how the people turned on him.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the theme for all of these people now that we nominate for this category. Like, why vote for Joe Biden? What reason did he give? None, right? Did he even speak about the case, the merits of the fake case against Donald Trump, the business records case? No, he couldn't speak to the merits of the case. He can't tell you why to vote for Joe Biden. He has severe Trump derangement syndrome. The guy's like 5'2", 100 years old. it's embarrassing. Like, I wish he didn't do that, because now when Goodfellas comes on, it's like hard to watch it and enjoy it like I used to be able to do.
Yes, I mean, what was the movie you did with Billy Crystal that was like a takeoff of being a mob boss? Analyze This and that whole thing. There was 2 movies of that. Great movie. Don't know if I can watch it ever again because the enjoyment is out of it.
Meet the Fockers and like, it's hard to watch it now.
It is, unless you suspend disbelief, and I gotta put up Christie's joke here again. How De Niro's a widow awe, yeah. But he went off on that crowd. You're gangsters, go F yourself. I love how the people were giving it right back to him because, hey, New York, baby, that's the good part of it all.
Yeah, but like a guy like him, Gene, and this is what makes it even more embarrassing. Like, you see how small, old, and frail he is. He also threatened to punch Donald Trump in the face once upon a time. He's a fake tough guy, right? Like, he has 20 bodyguards surrounding him, and he's calling out those guys in the crowd. Tell the bodyguards to leave and go in that guy's face and see what happens, right? Like, he just can't stand these fake people. He's fake, literally.
I agree, and that's an example of someone who really hurt their career, and probably hurt his personal credibility as well.
Yeah, really, his legacy, right? Because his career is over. He made a lot of money, and that's great. But his legacy, like, people will, or at least half the country will remember him for being a douche.
Yeah, especially in times to come. His legacy, I think you nailed it on the head there, pal. We're going to take a quick break here, just for a moment here, so I can show you guys my beautiful People's Republic of New York City glass that is available on shop.buffoonoftheweek.com. Check it out. It's also available in the store tab on YouTube. We got a lot of great merch out there. The holidays are here. Check out some of that merch. And another way to support the show, other than checking out the merch, is to not only like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff that we always talk about, which you guys have been doing a lot of lately with Buffoon of the Year. We've had a great audience. Last week, with all the videos being put out, we had close to, I think, 2,500 viewers of this. It's the biggest Buffoon of the Year ever. But one of the things you can also do is, starting next year, we're taking memberships, and we're going to start coming up with some new content that I'll be letting you know about in the new year. So become a member for the channel, become a buffoonologist like me and Ross here, and we will have a lot of fun in 2025, especially now since people like Anthony Weiner are coming back into the fold in politics. He's going to be running for New York City Council, and we're going to be seeing a lot of the fallout of the new Trump administration and how those who thought that they could act a fool are going to get their tails caught in a fan in 2025. So we have a lot of fun stuff coming up here on the channel. I hope you guys join us for that. But there's other ones out there that are basically retired celebrities, personalities out there, and all they do is spend their waking hours on social media just spouting platitudes and getting reamed out by the public as well. One of the biggest offenders of that is Rob Reiner, Meathead from All in the Family, also a celebrated director, another one who damaged his legacy because he started spouting off about politics in some of the most extreme way possible.
Cannot believe we're in this position that we're in right now. It's like being in some insane asylum.
What position are we in?
Well, we're in a position where you have one person who's spent her life dedicated to public service, who's worked hard, who has good values, is a good person. And on the other side, you've got a convicted felon who's been an adjudicated rapist, who tried to overthrow the government and is a pathological liar.
Yeah, and what's a shame about him and a lot of these people that have become more demented over the years is if you go back and watch any old Archie Bunker All in the Family episode, like, clearly that show was intended to make fun of what they viewed as a conservative person, Archie Bunker. But it was undeniably funny, right? Rob Reiner, as he has progressed through the years, has become more toxic. He's not funny anymore. Another one, which I don't know what he really believes, right? Because you can't believe that men should play in women's sports. Like, there's nobody that can really believe that, right? So what they convince themselves they believe is like things like, well, trans women are women. Like, okay, like that doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. They're unscientific, they're unserious people. And Rob Reiner, he's my favorite in this category thus far because he has the longest staying power. He's been a douche or a known douche for way longer than even Robert De Niro, right? Robert De Niro, we all just kind of figured out he's kind of a jerk, right? But Rob Reiner, we knew this for quite a while now.
I hear that. I certainly hear that. He also he famously went on to X predicting that Kamala Harris would win. He was all in for Harris. And after the election, he went radio silent, except to say that he was leaving social media because his therapist told him that it wasn't doing his mental health any good. I think he's left X now. He went over to Blue Sky, whatever that lefty version of X is. That, by the way, let them all have each other over there and start reporting each other for different things. And all the bad behavior going on over there. That's another show for another time. But he was broken by this election.
Yeah, and listen, if you have a mental health issue, by all means, go seek help, right? Like, I'm not against seeking help for mental health issues. But I would like to just point out that people with mental health issues seem to thrive on the left, right? And they're proud of it, right? Like, I don't tell you, hey, I saw my proctologist the other day. I'm real proud of that. Like, okay, you go do that, and you just keep it quiet, keep it to yourself. Right, but the left, they wear it as like a badge of honor. They all have therapists, and the therapists are giving them advice to lay off politics or whatever. Right? It's just sad, and it's not masculine. Right? A lot of male liberals, they're very proud of the fact that they see therapists and all this stuff, and for stupid reasons, like Trump derangement syndrome. That's like the dumbest reason, right? Like if something really bad happens in your life and you went to go see a therapist, man, more power to you, and you should like tell people about it to maybe convince others to go too. But for something like politics, dude, you just need like a straitjacket. Like Rob Reiner is a lunatic.
Well, let's compare just for a second here. The path of a Rob Reiner and the sort of culture warriors that we've been talking about, the Alyssa Milanos, the Kathy Griffins of the past as well, the Whoopi Goldbergs, those type, that ilk. And let's compare that to a celebrity on the right, like a Kid Rock, for example, who you know is right-leaning, but he doesn't throw it in your face 24/7. He'll show up to a UFC fight and walk down the aisle with Donald Trump. He'll create a song and let it be used in a campaign video or something like that. But he's not out there preaching and proselytizing out there about how he is just all in for Donald Trump, all in for Republicans. He doesn't do that. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these culture warriors is they have to convert you. They have to use their influence to convert you in order to feel like they're accomplishing something. They can't get an award for their acting and they don't have a work product anymore. Their work product is you, getting you to convert to their point of view, getting you to sycophantically follow them and agree with them and worship them and adore them. Meanwhile, someone like a Kid Rock doesn't need that.
Yeah, not only doesn't Kid Rock need that, they're culture warriors for what culture, right? The left's culture warriors, their culture is hate America, right? No, America is evil. America is systemically racist. Everything America does is wrong in their view, except now the FBI and the CIA. Now all of a sudden they love those entities, right? And they love foreign wars all of a sudden. But for the most part, their culture is that they hate America. A guy like Kid Rock, he loves America, right? They're all millionaires. Both the left and the right's culture warriors are millionaires. But Kid Rock doesn't bash America, right? He didn't like Joe Biden's policies, but he didn't bash America. He's using Donald Trump, like a lot of the like the Hulk Hogans of the world. They're friends with Donald Trump, whatever. But they're using them as a vehicle for American culture, American greatness, right? Like we believe in America first, and we love this country. Right, but the left does not, and it shows. So, yeah, they're culture warriors. They're culture warriors for a culture of hate towards America, even though they're rich, beyond rich. A lot of them are minorities, right? And they're rich, but America's systemically racist, and black people can't get ahead. Like, go shove it, man. Like, I'm not putting up that crap.
They made their wealth in the greatest nation in the world, and then they turn around and they stab it in the back.
And they threaten to leave, and they will never leave.
Well,
Right?
Ellen
If they do
DeGeneres
leave, they
left.
go to Great Britain with a higher white population percentage-wise than America.
I mean, Ellen DeGeneres did leave. So
To where? Great Britain?
Great Britain, yes.
Yeah, okay. So they have a higher percentage of white people living there. Like, they're all full of shit.
The best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying she's one of the few that followed up on that thread. That's all I'm saying, pal. Similar to Rob Reiner is horror novelist Stephen King. Probably one of the most visible people on Twitter. Did the same thing as Rob Reiner. Was very vocal about Biden and Kamala Harris and very, very vehemently anti-Trump with a lot of vitriol and a lot of hate. And then the election happens and nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Crazy. This is the trend that we're seeing with culture warriors. It's like what we talked about last week with Mark Cuban, how he ended up deleting all of his pro-Kamala Harris tweets out there. Stephen King, he's one of the few I'm actually worried about because he seems to be so far off kilter, even in his normal life with his writing and the car accident he went through and all the pain and suffering he had to go through. It probably messes with your head a little bit. I hope he's okay. But he's one of the more visible ones I saw during the year, and now, again, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment much on this one. If you named a few of his movies, I probably would be able to recognize them.
Well,
definitely not any of his books.
The Shining, a lot of the old horror movies, the book The Stand, which was like an epic novel.
Shining was great. Like, all right, yeah. To me, he's like a very irrelevant person.
All right.
I didn't even see his social media stuff, and I'm barely on, so I mean, that could be the excuse.
All right. Okay. No problem. He's quite similar to Rob Reiner in the behavior, but he was a lot more hateful, and I saw a lot more of him online.
So, anyway.
The final nominee, in my opinion, is the front runner in this category, and I'm going to show you why.
How many of you had Mark Hamill will lead the press briefing on your bingo card? Hands?
Goodness. Han Solo.
And look, I just got to meet the president. He gave me these aviator glasses. Oh, yeah. I love the merch.
Attachment is forbidden. Possession is forbidden.
I was honored to be asked to come to the White House to meet the president, the most legislative successful president in my lifetime.
He's taking a turn to the dark side, isn't he?
And, I don't have to go through the list, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the PACT Act, the CHIPS Act, all of that, inflation, 15 million jobs. Look, it's all good.
Every word of what you just said was wrong.
I called him Mr. President. He said, you can call me Joe. And I said, can I call you Joe B-1 Kenobi?
How embarrassing. How embarrassing.
Yoda, he called it right. This one hurts me, growing up a Star Wars fan, and Luke Skywalker being a hero of the rebellion, and to see what Mark Hamill has turned into hurts my soul.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, Gina. With him too, it hurt, right? Because as 80s babies, we grew up on a lot of his crap. He fought the Empire, right? Like, and now he's a government stooge. Like, I don't get it.
And what's even worse for me is, 90 people know him as the voice of the Joker from the Batman the Animated Series. He's recently been voicing the cartoon of my Lord and Savior Skeletor. So you can imagine how much that hurts me. If you know me, I am crazy about Skeletor, one of the greatest villains of all time, by the way. It's fact. Don't even fucking argue with me about it. But to see Mark Hamill just go all in, not only with the TDS, but with the white dudes for Harris, and this thing at the White House where it looked like Karine Jean-Pierre was watching to make sure that he hit all the points that was on that little piece of paper he took out and put on the podium to make sure that he was there to say everything that the campaign wanted him to say, not what the White House wanted him to say. And then what isn't seen in that clip, because I can only do so much with shorts nowadays, is that he was ushered off because he was getting off message in answering questions, and had to be taken off the stage. But again, one of the biggest Trump haters out there was all in for everything, had all types of iconography on his social media, and then the day after the election, gone. Again, it's a trend with all of them. But Mark Hamill was maybe the celebrity face of the Harris-Biden leftist wing of the party that was trying to retain the presidency.
The only thing I wanted to add or ask was, and I don't remember this, was Robert De Niro on those White Dudes for Harris commercials? I don't think he was.
I don't think he was.
And that's why I said Mark Hamill was a huge disappointment, right? Because not only was he so stupid with that stupid press conference and a lot of stuff he was putting online, the White Dudes for Harris thing gets you into a whole different place, right? Like, that was so cringeworthy that any celebrity that did that, I don't think you can come back from that. Years from now, we need to bring that back up, actually. Like, that, Harris, I think, will fade away into obscurity, but anyone who is even semi-famous that was a White Dude for Harris needs to be mocked for the rest of their life.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that. But you know what's going to happen with all of these culture warriors, pal? They're receding, and then they're going to regroup for whatever the next big lefty trend is going to be with the resistance of Donald Trump. They'll be back out there as brazen as ever, as superior as ever, going around and talking about how they are still right, even though they were so very, very wrong.
If the Democrats are smart, Mr. Berardelli, they will distance themselves from these old lunatics from Hollywood.
It's never going to happen, because I think they're addicted to it. I think they're addicted to being the cool kids, as you said in previous episodes. Being the cool kids means having cool friends. It means having George Clooney at, 5-figure per plate meals, and Julia Roberts out there, and paying Beyonce to show up, and getting Taylor Swift's endorsement, and all of the pseudo-celebrities transitioning into politics, like the Rosie O'Donnells, the Kathy Griffins, the Whoopi Goldbergs, the Mark Hamills that are out there, the Alyssa Milanos that are still out there. They're just regrouping to find the next cause, the next celebrity cause out there. I was going to use some more French, but I figured we're too lowbrow for that shit.
I mean, the only question I'll end my comments on this group with, Gene, if you can, is like, which demographic were they going for when they wheeled out Robert De Niro and Mark Hamill, right? Like, they were struggling with men to begin with.
White men.
Which white man looks at any one of those old fools and was like, all right, I'll give Biden my vote or Harris my vote? Like, I don't even understand what they were trying to do.
Well, can I throw a theory out there real quick? What was the demographic or sub-demographic that Trump was winning by the widest margin against Harris? Quote-unquote uneducated, meaning no college degree, white males. They are more likely to be older white males who would remember Raging Bull and The Godfather Part 2 and the Star Wars franchise and, Meet the Fockers and Analyze This and all the flicks that we were talking about here. And that appeal to nostalgia was what they were counting on to bring that demographic home a little bit, while at the same time creating White Dudes for Harris and making it even cringier than ever before to be a quote-unquote white dude on the left.
Yes, and bashing America throughout the process, right? Like, they never talk about how great things are. They only talk about how bad we are. So I don't know how they're going to get those older white males to say, yeah, you know what? My country sucks and I hate it. Let me vote for Kamala Harris.
It goes to show you, pal, how stupid this campaign was when they were trying to appeal to the so-called uneducated white men one way and then repelling them the other way. Completely nuts. I want to know what you guys think about who should be the culture warrior for 2024. Is it one of the people we chose? Is it someone else that we missed? Let us know in the comments in this video and on replay as Buffoon of the Year marches on.